Welcome to the bankruptcy program, Bankruptcy Solutions. Subscribe and like the video. I want you guys to check out the website, PAPERWERKScredit.com. Subscribe to the website. Show you the form later on in the video. Also, you can subscribe to our Facebook, Instagram. Links are under the video. You get information on different special discounts, lenders, credit tips, so forth and so on. What is the bankruptcy program? Well, it's basically to change your finance situation, your credit situation. Most people don't know what to do before or after a bankruptcy or during. So what we talk about is how to rebuild your finance and credit situation, the options to complete, which means like the different credit accounts, things you can actually do in and outside of bankruptcy where you have special powers, I guess you could say. A lot of times the bankruptcy market, as far as the consumer, is ignored as far as marketing different products, and so we'll talk about some of the things that are available for that. And basically there's no set education after you file a bankruptcy or after you're discharged from a bankruptcy. What are your options? How do you come back? Can you come back quickly? Do you have to wait 2, 3, 4 years? So we'll talk about that. There are a few different types of bankruptcies, and usually the bankruptcies are called chapters. There are different chapters in a bankruptcy. So you got 7, 9, 11, 12, and 15. Most people deal with the 7 and 13, and sometimes 11, I guess for people who have a lot of bills, net worth of bills over $1 million, or they're in control of a company. So, but what we're going to talk about primarily here is the 7, which is you get rid of all your bills, you don't owe anybody. Chapter 11, which is for like business owners or people with high net worth assets, and that's kind of like a reorganization where you pay back your creditors. And then the chapter 13, I guess you could say, is for regular people who don't have a high net worth. Usually they're trying to save their car or their home or both. So we'll primarily talk about that. And what are they, which we just talked about. But the 7 and 13 is the most common. And then also, is it hard to come back from? What needs to be done? And so we'll talk about that. A long time ago, bankruptcy was considered a very bad thing, and for my parents and grandparents. But actually, bankruptcy is a tool if you understand how to use it. Obviously, you can start over by getting rid of all your debts if you don't have the ability to repay. If you do have the chance or ability to repay, especially if you're trying to save your home or your car, you can reorganize and in some cases pay back less than what you owe. Buying a home, you can buy a home inside of bankruptcy. Matter of fact, I've had clients 12 months after filing the Chapter 13 bankruptcy close on a home with very low down payment and closing costs. Also, you can buy a car or buy a new car in the Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Also, sometimes when you have a car, you can lower the interest rate or the amount owed on the car. So we're not going to get into in depth with that, but you can reduce the interest rate on a mortgage, on a car. Obviously, like I said, you can get rid of unsecured debt, which is usually credit cards, stop a foreclosure, stop a repo. Usually you're in 3 different states of bankruptcy. You're either in a current bankruptcy, which is usually a Chapter 13 or 11 for most people. You're discharged, which you could be discharged, meaning that it's over, whatever the requirements are, and that could be a 7, 11, or 13. Or you're dismissed, meaning you didn't do something right, didn't provide paperwork, didn't make the payments. Usually that's a Chapter 11 or 13. But you could be dismissed for Chapter 7 also, but we're not going to get in depth on that. However, but usually most people have one of these 3 statuses. So the main thing about the bankruptcy program is really what we're talking about is we want people to be able to rebuild credit. And so how soon can you rebuild credit? Well, usually with a Chapter 7, you can rebuild it within, a month after the discharge, really technically a day. There are accounts that you can approve for. They're on our website. There should be some links below this video also. Guaranteed approval, higher credit limits. Like I said, you can get credit after a bankruptcy, a discharge, but you also can get credit inside of bankruptcy, which is usually a Chapter 13. Where can you get it from? There are special companies. They're not very well advertised, but on our website we have them on the pages, depending on your status, discharged, dismissed, or in an open bankruptcy. What kind of credit, type of credit can you get? It could be credit cards, car, home, all of that's available. Credit after discharged, Chapter 7. You can definitely buy home, but some of the common programs or um, loan companies that people will do, they usually have a time frame, like 2 to 4 years before you can buy a home. Buying a car is a little more simpler. You may have a higher interest rate, but if you check out how to rebuild your credit before you buy the car on the discharge um, bankruptcy page on paperworkscredit.com, that can help you get a lower interest rate by having some type of rebuilt credit. You can also repair credit, or I should say enhance or remove. You can remove a bankruptcy and the accounts that were in the bankruptcy. So that's an option too. You can see that on the website. You can add trade lines or authorize user trade lines. These are accounts that are owned by other people that have a perfect credit history that can be added to yours. So again, like I said, look at the discharge page to get more info. Credit after discharge, Chapter 13. Obviously, you can get some of the same accounts that you can get with a discharge, Chapter 7. But here, you can check out in bankruptcy, which is usually a Chapter 13. You can buy a house, buy a car. There are certain credit cards that you can get. Just like the Chapter 7, you can remove the bankruptcy and the accounts that were in it. You can add authorized user trade lines to enhance your credit. And like I said, you can see that information on the discharge page on the website. Credit in the bankruptcy, which is usually a Chapter 13, but in some cases 11. You can do buying a home in the Chapter 13, buy a car, get credit cards, You can repair your credit while you're in the bankruptcy, add trade lines. And here, I guess sometimes people get mixed up where they'll tell you you cannot get credit in a bankruptcy, but there are special provisions where you can, and so you can call us or apply. Some of the accounts for this are actually in the bankruptcy page at our website, and they're accounts that are guaranteed approval. So check that out. Credit after a dismissed bankruptcy. You could be dismissed from a 7, 11, or 13. Primarily, people are dismissed from a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So here, creditors will be looking for payment afterwards, or if they've sold the account to a new company, they can come back after payment. But there are certain things you can do to help that situation and rebuild, because if you're dismissed from a bankruptcy, you didn't pay, and now you have a bankruptcy. So this one, you want to definitely start applying for some accounts, which are on the dismissed bankruptcy page on our website. Guaranteed approval to start rebuilding something positive on your credit. Obviously, you can at some point buy a car, buy a home, but that there are certain parameters on buying a home where it's a little bit longer. That's why you might want to clear up the bankruptcy and accounts on your credit report. You can add trade lines, obviously, and see the page on the dismissed bankruptcy. You can obviously contact us at paperworkscredit.com or call in 773-373-9184. You can text or call. When you do contact us, if you're looking for a free or a custom solution, you must have a paid credit, I should say, monitoring service. We have one on the site, but we will look at others. So there's one on the site that you can click and set up right away. All right, thank you. Have a good day.